All right. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Who's
I do not like checking out spoilers. I do not check like finding out about things before a show starts.
Same.
So I did not know what to expect. I was very excited because of the just the material itself. We're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what happened after Revenge of the Sith. I was excited about that. Already 2 episodes in, I am thrilled.
Oh my
and
God,
it is beyond my expectations already. Guys, what do you think?
Same. I know I texted you guys, but I turned it on and we're allowed to talk about anything now, right? So
Yes.
like
spoiler alert, everybody.
Spoiler alert. When the previously kind of things they show are all movie clips, I literally broke into tears. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I want to know. This is the time. This is what I want to know. And then the beginning of it, the opening to be about freaking Order 66, I almost lost my mind. So
I did lose my mind when they opened with Order 66 for the first new footage. I was like, that is a bold move.
Oh, yeah, bold. And it just opens up. The first 10 minutes of this were mind-boggling to me.
And there's so many questions left by just that one scene. I agree with you, Pam. I was hooked from the recap and then opening with Order 66. I was like, I'm in for this series. If this is the story you're going to tell me about what happened between their fight on Mustafar and then old, what is his name? Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan, picking up with Luke when he's a teenager. That's a story I'm here for. Yeah, that's a story I never know. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him between those years. He was just living in a cave doing whatever.
Right. And we've never heard anything. We've had all these other series that have been around the same time period, and there have been things that have been hinted at, but all that time that's how the original story opens. That's how the original A New Hope opens, is that first movie. You're introduced to Ben Kenobi, who he's so important, and you want to know what he's been doing all this time. And there you go. Boom. There it was. I chills. I literally had tears in my eyes. It's not even, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even ashamed of it. It was.
Well, there was one part where that just made me bawl, and I might cry this time too, just talking about it, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we start with Order 66. We're on Coruscant. We're it's Order 66. And when I saw this, I thought, crap. Here we go. It's we're again with the Order 66. Is this some kind of Groundhog Day fever dream that we have to live the same horrible thing over and over again? Oh my God.
Pam, yes, I was going to say, fantastic background, Pam.
I totally forgot that I had that, so I decided I'm going to put it on.
Pam is our correspondent right on Coruscant right now.
That's right.
But this is what I did not know when I first saw it. Okay, so we see basically, the Jedi are battling all the clone troopers, and they're trying to kill them, and we have the kids there, and the Jedi are fighting, but they're losing. Okay, and you have the kids, and then that's it. And you think, why are we showing this?
Because don't we think Reva is one of them? She has to be. She has to be. I went back and watched it a little while ago, the opening, just to see, was there a black girl in there? Yes, there was.
There was.
Yeah.
I've heard 2 theories. Some of them escape. Others get picked up by the Empire and get turned into Inquisitors.
Okay, but you know what? One of the only things I did pay attention to in some of the off years, I did read some of the novels, and there are novels that talk about escaped Padawans, ones who escaped Order 66. So immediately I was like, oh my God.
Grogu was one.
Sense.
Grogu was one.
Had to be. There you go. Had to be. But there's some, I don't remember which book. I'm not good with the books. I'm sorry, my friends, if you listen to this, I appreciate that you know more than me, but there's a couple of the books that are specifically talk about some of the, Padawan to escape.
Well, let's talk about, so Reva is an Inquisitor, and this is the first time that we see Inquisitors in live action,
which I love.
They appeared in Rebels.
Right. There are some of us that only watch the live action things, the movies and the live action things. So they haven't seen Rebels or Clone Wars or anything like that. So they don't know what this is about. Inquisitors are Jedi hunters, former Jedi. Now here's some an important distinction.
They're not all former Jedi though. They're force some of them are, but they're all force sensitive.
Force sensitive that become Jedi hunters. Now, here's the thing. That apparently Inquisitors started like around the time of maybe Attack of the Clones, maybe before that. Basically, Palpatine, when he was putting together this plan, saw that basically his original plan was, we're stealing Force babies and making them evil. And turning them evil.
Oh, I did not know that started that early.
There was a plot. That was a plot. But then something happened. He saw that there were some Jedi that were disgusted with the Jedi Order and said, "How about I make you? How about I just turned you to the dark side? Can't make you Sith Lord because there can only be two, but we'll make you."
That rule of two is dumb.
Well, I think the rule of two is necessary because
Well, for Palpatine, it is.
Their whole thing is kill the next dude. So you can only have two, because if you had like 10 Sith Lords, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get 7 of you and beat up the other 3, and then. But anyway, so either they're like this situation where we see Order 66 and the younglings, those younglings were probably taken and turned into Inquisitors, but there's also OG Inquisitors that were basically former Jedi or former good force sensitive people that were turned into Inquisitors. And I think that might be why there's the hate on Reva from the other Inquisitors.
Oh, because she's the youngest of them.
It's kind of
like
the
third sister though. Like,
well, it's the Inquisitors have names of when they are brought into the Inquisitor order. So
yeah, and the other dude was like the 5th brother. So like technically she should be higher than him.
Well, no,
unless there's a male hierarchy there that I don't see.
It's just there's 3 girls and she was the 3rd girl. It's not an order thing. It's not a hierarchy thing. It's you're the 3rd person to come in, kind of thing.
Okay, so
there's one theory that the hate is on Reva because the Grand Inquisitor says to her, it's like, do you know why? Because you're the least of us. You came in from the gutters or something like that. So I think possibly the OG Inquisitors are like, they were, it's kind of like liking a band. It's like someone was like, oh yeah, well, I liked it before they were cool. The OG Inquisitors were like, oh yeah, I was evil before Order 66. You just came along when being evil went mainstream.
But
that is a theory.
And that makes sense. Especially given the fact that she's like, if she is one of the escaped Padawans, she would be low, awful, horrible, trained Jedi person who would like be, we don't want her among us. So that makes sense.
She's also the only one of those 2 not sporting the face paint.
Okay. Yeah. She doesn't have the face paint. And there's the other.
Can I just ask a question? Because this is a Star Wars nerd and history nerd thing. Are the Inquisitors supposed to be Lucas's heavy-handed thing about the Spanish Inquisition? Is that like where their name came from? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Okay. I actually have Wikipedia up right now.
That was the first thing when I first heard of the Inquisitors in Rebels, and they're just coming in and doing like secret investigations to root out like the Jedi. Like, I'm like, this is the Spanish Inquisition.
I mean, it makes sense. What does Wikipedia say?
I'm not seeing anything about the Spanish Inquisition, but it's the ranks. I mean, they're in general, they're called the Inquisitorius. I don't know if that's related in any way.
I don't know. I know not a lot about the Spanish Inquisition. I just know that it was like this big basic witch hunt that happened in Spain way back when. And the Monty Python joke,
this is a big witch hunt that's happening in the Star Wars universe. So
that's exactly why my brain went there. I was like, oh, Inquisitors, Spanish Inquisition. that's a pretty easy parallel. I just wondered
Yeah.
if this was like Lucas's way of commenting on that or something.
Could be.
I don't know. Did Lucas didn't write any of this, did he? About the Inquisitors?
He doesn't have anything to do with this, does he? Other than
The
creating-
Inquisitors
Or, like,
started
Rebels when they first appear.
They,
Like, I don't
I
think he-
believe they appeared in Rebels, and I don't think he was involved in that. He was involved in Clone Wars. I know that.
Okay,
so
and
this
they
might
appear in
be
Clone Wars.
a Dave Filoni creation. I don't know,
Okay.
but
yeah, I'm not
okay.
sure.
Okay.
So-
I was just curious.
So we skip to Tatooine 10 years later, and 3 of the Inquisitors show up to Tatooine, and they are in some bar or something like that, and they basically give a speech that says the Jedi suck.
Yeah.
They suck.
That wasn't a great speech, to be honest.
That was probably
was
the lowest point of the whole first two shows. Like,
Yeah. And basically they're saying we're looking for Jedi. They suck. And
This is
so
very Western.
So
This is
but
very
in
Western.
that scene, okay, so I think it was Reva uses the Force to throw a knife at the thing. But
Jedi guy.
who stops it?
No, it's at a civilian. It's at
Oh,
a
it's at a
civilian.
civilian, and the Jedi guy stops it. That's how
I
they
didn't
figure out who
realize
he
that.
is.
Yeah, the Jedi guy stops it.
That's how they realize who he is.
And it's not Obi-Wan.
No, it's that other dude. But he
Whose
had to
name
be
I will
around.
not remember.
Yeah, I don't, and I just watched it again like an hour and a half ago. I don't remember his name either. But
Yeah, he's basically like a red shirt in
Let's say Jedi number 1.
Yeah. Jedi
they just
number
needed
one.
a Jedi to bleed into Obi-Wan, so they threw him out there.
Yeah. So okay, then we see Obi-Wan basically working at the Tatooine fish market.
That's what it looks like.
Why are there fish on a desert planet?
Yeah, good question. It was
I'm sorry.
probably
Or like
it-
land fish.
it was probable. Remember from The Mandalorian and from Boba Fett that there was that big dragon thing. So maybe they killed one of those big dragon things.
Is that a fish, though?
It's a land fish.
Land fish. I'm telling you, it's a land fish. The Dune Sea is dry. It's in the sea. It's a land fish.
It would have been better if it was the Dune worm. If it was the Dune worm, I would have lost my
There you
mind.
go. So he steals some meat and he's using a knife and he's not using the Force, and then he's talking to a Jawa and he's negotiating for stuff that was stolen from him.
Oh my God. And the things that he's negotiating for too, that little toy that he ends up giving Luke later, that Luke has later on. Oh my God.
He has that toy in New
And the
Hope.
belt?
though.
Yes.
Obi-Wan's
yes.
boat.
He has that toy in New Hope.
He
He
has
does,
that
exactly.
toy.
Like the
Yeah,
things
yes.
he's bargaining for, like, oh my God. Like everything
Yeah.
was awesome in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
He tries to go to sleep and he has horrible visions and he's calling out for Master Qui-Gon because, as we saw at the beginning of this previously, and what happened in Revenge of the Sith is Yoda said, "Hey, go to Tatooine, and while you're there, you could do
I
a-
have teachings for you that you can
Yeah.
take with
You
your
to
master.
You could-
commune with your former master. I will.
yeah, you could do a Zoom
That was
call.
way
with
better. That was way
Qui-Gon.
better than mine, Pam.
So yeah, and and then by the way, his name was Nari, that Jedi.
Sorry. Okay.
Now we know, and he'll be dead soon. But
Yeah.
but
Spoilers.
he talks to Ben and says, "Hey, yo, Jedi, you're a Jedi, I'm a Jedi. Let's help each other." And he's like, "No, dude, no,
So,
don't."
Doesn't this like just speak to how downtrodden Obi-Wan is? Like they did such a good job of setting up where he is mentally, having these nightmares about these horrible things that of course he would have nightmares about, that we've all seen. And like he doesn't want anything to do with it. All he wants to do is check on Luke. Like they set this up so well. I was so
Well,
impressed.
I saw this as, and I haven't seen A New Hope in a long time, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Obi-Wan's path in this episode mirrors Luke's path in the first movie. This is the refusal of the call from the hero's
no
journey.
way.
This is the refusal of the call. When Luke doesn't go with Obi-Wan the first time and then comes back and finds his family burned to death and then goes and becomes who Luke is supposed to be. This is Obi-Wan denying the call to action the first time, and then he sees Nari. strung up, and now he's like, okay, it's time to do something.
I don't think
so
that I don't know if that was the what led him to strike him to call for action. I think it was Leia, but anyway.
I think it's both, but I think it's refusal of the call, then accepting the call. Like I see parallels.
It's funny because what it reminded me of is Luke Skywalker, but not in A New Hope. In the sequel trilogy, remember the same thing happened to Luke, where he denied the Force. He was done. He cut himself off from the Force. He's like, I'm done. The Jedi are done. I think Ben said almost the exact same thing as like, the Jedi are done. Don't
maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah. That could very well be what they're going for. So so Ben basically tells them to screw off. Then we cut to Alderaan, and
oh my god,
don't you get sad when you see such a beautiful planet and what's gonna happen to it?
Oh god,
and just like go, oh my god, we're on Alderaan. Like
we are on Alderaan.
Other than that snippet of Alderaan that we get in Revenge of the Sith, we don't see or not Revenge of the Sith, but yeah, Revenge of the Sith. We haven't seen Alderaan at all, and there we are. Oh,
other than it getting blown up.
Right.
Yes, you're correct.
That was freaking amazing.
It's so sad. It looks like a beautiful planet.
Yeah.
The queen goes to see Leia. She lifts up the thing. It's not Leia. Ha ha ha. Just like her mom. Oh,
I was gonna say that's a straight call back to the first episode.
Yeah. We see Leia. She's in the woods. She's having fun. She's with her little droid thing, a cute little droid. I can't wait to get this droid. I know it's like merchandising. I
was say merchandising.
Christmas list beginning in May.
Yeah. And she's in the trees, and she's spotting all the ships and stuff, and yeah.
I mean, you get a Rey vibe, you get a Padme vibe, you get a Yavin vibe. You get all of this in that little tiny bit.
The actress that they got for Leia
She's
is
amazing.
The most perfect casting.
She's perfect. She's perfect.
It's almost like they did like some kind of CGI AI thing. It's like let's like.
I don't think we're quite there yet, but
almost.
Maybe.
So then we cut to Ben talking to Owen, and this has kind of become a meme where Ben says, we talked about this. When the time comes, he must be trained. And Owen says, oh, you trained his father. Burn.
Yeah.
Oh God, burn is a painful way to end that joke.
There are so many memes of like basically Owen showing up and just burning people left and right. It's so funny. So that's a great line from Owen. But
and it's the same actor. I was like, oh my God, that's the same guy. Like they got all the same actors for this stuff. It was very
same actor from what? Were they hand him off in episode 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And in episode 2, and when you first meet Owen and Beru, it's
that's
people.
right. I forgot they were in episode 2 where Anakin goes all psycho on the sand people. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah. So but I mean it's I mean that's the heart of the thing. It's like, well, I'm gonna train him, right? I gotta train him, and I was like, get the hell away from me. Dude, go away. We don't want trouble.
I'm just a moisture farmer, man.
Yeah, man, I'm just a moisture farmer. So now we have a scene where Reva and one of the Inquisitors shows up, and this lady says, we're not under the Empire's jurisdiction. And boom, there goes her hand. Like,
but you can always lend a hand to.
It's like a theme, a Star Wars theme.
You gotta lose a hand. Yeah,
That's now a main character, whoever that lady was. If you lose a hand, you're a main character.
Yeah, there you go. You matter.
But there's also a scene with Owen where she's like, if you don't tell me where the Jedi are, I am killing this dude.
And he doesn't, which he says, I didn't do it for you, but at the same time, he obviously cares a great deal about Luke and cares a lot about what Luke is, even though he doesn't say it. But
I think he does too. I think he was smart enough. Owen, for whatever his character development's going to be in this, he was never a major character. They never gave him a lot of backstory. But I think at the end of the day, he cares about Luke, and he's smart enough to realize that if they find Obi-Wan there, they're gonna be like, Obi-Wan was kind of there when Anakin and like the kids were being born. He might know where those Skywalker children are. So like,
who is here keeping him here? Oh, wait, maybe. I mean, it's always amazed me that this is one of the reasons I wanted to see some storyline in between, the twins being born and the beginning of the story in A New Hope. How did nobody know they were there? As you hear them,
how did nobody go look for his family, for the Skywalker family? How did nobody search that house?
Here's
Owen and Beru's house?
Yeah, they're both the Skywalkers, right?
But go ahead.
Oh.
I don't think that's their name, though. I don't know. No,
I thought their last name was also Skywalker.
Their last name is Lars. Owen and Beru.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Sorry. My bad. I thought it was Skywalker as well.
Speaking of last names, Obi-Wan goes into hiding on Tatooine, and now he's Ben. Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes Ben Kenobi.
Which they haven't mentioned yet.
Bro.
But it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bro, how about calling yourself Ben McGillicuddy or something like that? Like, if you
don't seem to know how the witness protection program works.
Shave the beard, shave the mustache, change your last name.
Cut your hair, maybe. Yeah. Like, go back to that old Padawan with the little like dangly.
Yeah, there you go.
Go back to that one.
Yeah, I agree.
So we go back to Alderaan, and there is a party, and I believe R2D2 and C3PO are there.
I saw them both, unless they were droids that look exactly like them. So
I missed them.
They're both in there. C3PO's socializing or translating, and R2 looks like he's serving drinks.
Right. R2 is there, which makes sense because he would be with Bail Organa after the events of,
and then with Leia afterwards for the opening of New Hope. So the other thing I like that this sets up, and we'll get to it in a minute. Actually, we'll get to it later. Hang on, never mind. I won't jump the gun too much.
Okay. So this is a party, and the Bail Organa's wife's family is there, and they're a bunch of D-bags.
And Leia
every one of them
cousin down a peg.
The dad is a dude. The dad's a jerk. The cousin's a jerk. The cousin was being a jerk to Leia, and Leia just knocks him down. Dang.
No hesitation, just boom. No nothing. Yeah.
I read a theory that this is the first scene that proves that she's force sensitive.
Yes. Yeah.
She was using that Jedi mind read stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how she knew, like, oh, you've never made a decision in your life, and you never will, and you're really scared of your dad, and you want everybody to be scared of you like they are of your dad, and all that, whatever she says. I butchered the phrasing of that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she really dressed him down. And she goes off and she gets kidnapped by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I was gonna say,
I saw Flea in the credits, and I went,
what is that?
When I saw who that was, I'm like, okay, wonder who that is. And then I learned
Flea just walked up into Disney and was like, I want to be in a Star Wars thing. Can you throw me a cameo? And they're like, yeah,
sure.
And it wasn't even a cameo. Like, I'm looking at him the whole time going, I know this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Who is that?
That was pretty cool.
So she gets kidnapped, and then Bail Organa does a Zoom call with Ben and says, please, you gotta help. I need you. And Ben says, it's been 10 years. I'm not who I used to be. And then we see Nari's corpse strung out right in the middle of town, basically. Like, this is what happens.
I actually think that makes him run screaming the other way, Andrew. I think that makes him even more like, I'm not.
No, I took it as he sees it as nobody is safe. Even the people that are hiding, even the people that I've helped hide are not safe.
Yeah,
And
but I
then
don't
he
think
gets-
that made
maybe
him want to do it.
I could see both ways. Like I
Yeah.
could see both.
I think that's the first itch because he doesn't know Leia's been kidnapped. No, or did?
Well, no,
did-
he did because Bail.
Oh.
That's when
See,
Bail
I
did
think
the
that's
Zoom
because
call.
he's like trying to distance himself from helping out with Leia, and then he's like, oh well, this person that was hiding on their own didn't have any help is already getting strung up. Like what's going to happen to these kids? So I think it kind of plays all in together to motivate him into episode 2.
So we go. Ben goes home and his intruder alarm goes off or something like that, and it's Bail Organa shows up in person and says, I mean that's way better than a Zoom call, and and
it's Jimmy Smits. It's actually Jimmy Smits. Like it's so cool.
It's actually Jimmy Smits, yeah. And Ben digs up the lightsabers. How did he know where the lightsabers were? It's an entire planet filled with sand. How did he know?
Force sensitive.
The Force, yes.
The Force, young Padawan.
Yes.
You can blame everything on the Force.
And he digs up the lightsabers, and it's not just his, it's Anakin's too.
I know, another like, oh my God moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Reva
did they show that in the third movie? I don't remember that. I don't remember him picking up Anakin's. They do.
He picks up Anakin's. He picks up Anakin's lightsaber.
Okay, I haven't seen those movies in like since they came out, probably. So I was just curious if that's like, oh, he happened to do that off screen, or if they actually like showed him.
No, they actually showed him picking up the.
Okay, I didn't remember that, so I was just curious.
Yeah.
It was this one. No, just kidding. So then we have a scene where Reva is telling the kidnappers like this is all part of her plan. It's like he can't help himself. She's repeating what the Inquisitor said at the beginning. It's like, oh, the Jedi can't help themselves. They're but a bunch of goody two shoes.
They can't help their natures.
Yeah. So that's the end of episode 1. Then we go to episode 2, and we are on the planet Dayu, which is new to us, new to the and I guess it was kind of patterned after Hong Kong or something like that. I don't know. But Obi-Wan is wandering around, and he sees a familiar face, a clone trooper that looks like a homeless guy, and oh man, and it's what's his name, Tamora Morrison or whatever.
Yeah,
it's actually Tamora Morrison. Yes,
it's a Boba. It's a Django. It's him.
It's him.
That man is never going to be out of work as long as Star Wars is a thing.
Oh boy,
that man can play that role to the day he dies as just
smart
older
guy.
and older.
Yeah, like to embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a role where there's 500,000 of you. So
Yeah,
exactly.
We're gonna show up somewhere forever.
Yeah. And it's sad, and it's also a commentary on, how the Empire treated its former soldiers and how maybe we treat our former soldiers. You see a lot of people that have mental struggles and homeless vets and stuff like that, so
All the time.
So there's that parallel, but I mean, Ben is compassionate and gives them some. I could easily see, and we've seen in other things like in Star Wars Rebels, where a clone trooper shows up, or a former clone trooper shows up, and like a Jedi are like, you son of a gun, you tried to kill me. Remember Order 66? You tried to kill me. You want now you're cool. Screw you. So Ben is actually compassionate toward him, but
well, it depends on your interpretation of Order 66. Like people say, like I always read it as it was like genetically ingrained in them by the Emperor when they were being made, that they would execute that order, that it wasn't necessarily
they had
like,
chips. They had chips in them.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, because
that's always how I took it, was that they were just kind of like, it was a switch that was flipped, and it wasn't necessarily them being like, okay, Order 66, we all know what this is. Boom.
No,
like,
it was something built into them, like a chip, some
Okay.
chip,
That's
because
how I
some of
always took it.
the clones they got it, like they found that chip, and they're like, oh my God, what is this? And so that's why they did not.
Wasn't that part of the thing with the Bad Batch? Is the Bad Batch they like don't have those? They don't have all that preset programming, and that's why
I'm not
they're,
exactly
like,
sure,
effective?
but that was part of the final season of Clone Wars. That was a big story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So okay. So now Obi-Wan is still wandering around and he sees a female spice dealer. Do you know who that female spice dealer was?
I didn't know who the character was, but I recognize Spice.
The actress was
No.
actually Ewan McGregor's daughter.
Ah,
Seriously, how cool!
good for
She
her.
even has a line, something about her father or something like that, which was like a wink and a nod. So
Oh, I'll have to rewatch that.
yeah.
I didn't catch that the first time. No, I'll have to go back and watch that.
So
one
she
again.
offers him some drugs, and I think I guess he says something like, I need to find a Jedi. I need to find something. And she's like, oh, I could take you to a Jedi. Okay. And this is where we see Kumail Nanjiani plays a fake Jedi.
I love him.
Such a great scene. He
Yeah.
uses magnets or whatever to show that he has the Force to get that, and it's
That was a good scene. I liked it.
I did like how Obi-Wan just waited in the corner the entire time. It was just like, yeah, it's magnets.
Yeah. He's like,
Obi-Wan.
oh my God.
Obi-Wan had the biggest face palm. He's like, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Obi-Wan confronts him and he's like, you're fake, but he has a great line. He says, in my experience, rats know more about the sewers, which is a great line.
That is a great one. It's
yeah,
true.
That is.
Yeah. Okay, so also around this time, apparently Mark Hamill shows up in the background. Whether it's him, whether it's not, there is some dude that looks like him, and it's just a very fleeting background thing.
I have to look this up.
You got to look it up because it was like,
Was it like a blink and you miss it type thing?
Yeah, it was just
okay. I totally missed it.
It was like
an
Easter egg
They just
thing.
threw Mark Hamill in the background,
and people were saying, is that Luke Skywalker from the future? What's going on
is
here?
that,
or is
you're
that
talking modern day Mark Hamill, not DCGI'd like?
No,
so you're talking
I'm
bearded
talking
modern day Mark Hamill.
It's either some older dude with a beard or it's Mark Hamill or
That's such a broad net to cast. Like it's some old bearded dude or Mark Hamill. One of the two.
No, I definitely have to look for that. I missed that.
Look it up.
Yeah.
It looks
I will
a
have
lot
to look
like
for
him.
that too, because
And
that'd be
there's
funny if they
Darth
just
Vader.
chose to randomly throw him in something.
It either is him or it's not him. It's definitely not a time traveling old Luke Skywalker. If it is, it's just Mark Hamill just wants to be in a scene or something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm on
Anyway.
set for something else. Throw me in there.
So Ben goes to the spice processing lab. It kind of looks like a meth lab drug thing, and he's fighting the guards, but he's fist fighting them. And he's not using the Force, and he's getting his butt kicked, and it's like, oh, geez, this is sad. Come on, Obi-Wan, do your thing. He goes to this room, and there's this little kid. It looks like Leia. He opens up a thing. It turns out it was a trap, and the kidnappers are there. It's a trap. The kidnappers confront him.
Sorry.
And he drops the spice, and the kidnappers are high as a kite. Flea is high. He is woo for the.
Are we sure he wasn't before shooting this? I mean, really? It's Flea.
So okay, eventually Obi-Wan finds Leia, and he says, your father sent me. I'm here to help you. And she says, where's the army?
Yeah, they'll send an army. She was trash talking the bounty hunters. She's like, they'll send an army for me. He's like, no, they sent one old washed up Jedi.
And that's a callback to when Luke rescued her in the Death Star. And she's like, aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper? Like, no.
I didn't realize that was a callback to that scene, but that's
basically sassy Leia. Like, instead of, hey, thanks for helping me, it's like, no, aren't you? Who, you? Ew. So I love that.
It just shows the disconnect that she has living on Alderaan as a princess too. Another lesson.
Despite her wanting a life of adventure and stuff like that, she's only known the lap of luxury. So yeah.
I guess it's like, It's like, yeah, if they're coming, I'm important. If they're coming for me, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be the best of the best, not that dude.
Which she's going to learn is the best of the best, which makes it even more poignant that she doesn't get it. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Reva meets up with the other Inquisitors and she says, I found the link between him and Organa in the archives, and I used the girl as a bait. Where are these archives that she knows that there's a link between Bail Organa and Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan Kenobi? That has to be a deep cut.
Well, I mean, but he isn't Bail. I was thinking about that. Isn't Bail the one, like, wasn't he really involved in the Attack of the Clones movie in whether or not they were going to allow Jedi, like the whole thing with the clones? And
he was always friendly with the Jedi, so it's not that much of a leap to say.
No.
And if they had any idea who picked all them up from Mustafar, it was Bail Organa, wasn't it?
Now, there's something very interesting about this, because basically the other Inquisitors are like, what are you doing? You kidnapped the daughter of a senator. What are you doing, you nuts? Instead of saying, we're the Empire, we run this place, we run the galaxy, we're gonna beat up anybody, we're gonna, because someone said, why don't they just torture Bail Organa? Why are they doing this? And I think the answer is politics. Even in this time,
yes,
it's all about politics. Like, for example, even in, I believe it was A New Hope, like Vader was saying something about why they shouldn't do something because of how it would how would it appear in the Senate or something like that. So politics has, it's not just about we run this place or we're the dictators or something like that. You have to do things. You can't just kill senators. You can't just kidnap senators' kids. You have to be political about it. You have to be shrewd about it. You just can't heavy-hand your way through everything.
Yeah, it's tough to win hearts and minds when you're fire and brimstone and everything.
Yeah,
that's the part I like about this, is it shows that, we called it the Empire throughout all the first three movies, all the original trilogy. Let me phrase that properly. And I kind of always assumed when I was a kid, because I didn't pick up on the politics, that they ruled everything. They were the law. But after watching the prequels and realizing the time frame, this is only 10 years later, and you're talking about an entire galaxy. And Tatooine especially is pretty far out from what I remember. You can't just go in and pretend like you own the place without setting yourself up. So they can't just go, like I said, fire and brimstone everything and expect that people are just going to sit there and take it. You need people to run a prosperous empire. Yeah, you can knock some of them down as an example, but you need people. So I get that. I get why, you just don't kidnap the daughter of one of the most prosperous planets in the galaxy. We need them. So we need them to like us.
I also think that, I could get really deep about my feelings about, the Jedi and what made them fail and why I think this is important that they, show their emotions, and the Empire didn't. But that aside, there's levels too. The Inquisitor is here, and the Emperor's here. And this also opens it up for when Darth Vader does show up on the scene, and we all know he's going to, that.
Oh yeah.
The military political part of it's here, but Darth Vader is larger than life, and the Empire or the Emperor is larger than life, and we need to save some room for them to be the ones who can come in and do whatever they want to do. The military, the emperors or the Empire people, they're constrained by these rules.
But at this point,
there's a chain of command.
There is a chain of command, but Darth Vader is not what we think of as Darth Vader. A New Hope Darth Vader and what happened before A New Hope, that was a Darth Vader that was, he wasn't like in Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi. It was the Emperor was running the whole thing and Darth Vader was right there with him. But here, remember in A New Hope, it was Grand Moff Tarkin was the dude. Grand Moff and Vader was just
yeah.
some guy
Yeah.
that just some religious dude.
But he still had that force choke power right from the beginning that superseded everything. Like when we get to Empire, he's the one that's going through admiral after admiral after admiral after admiral.
Right. Right.
So,
then his power is through the charts. But here I don't think that's the case. And I remember there was a line in New Hope, and there was a story in New Hope that when they captured Leia, she said something like the Imperial Senate is not going to like this or something like that. Blah, blah, blah.
Stand for this. Yes.
And then there was the line at some point in A New Hope. Someone's like, oh yeah, they just did away with the Imperial Senate. That's just we're done with that. So yeah, there's a lot of political things going on here, but
I mean, honestly, if they were trying to take power, they probably kept the puppet Senate there to keep the people thinking it was still a democratic society until they built the Death Star, which is basically like we run this now.
Earlier in this episode, in that party with on Alderaan, the dad of that little jerk cousin, he was talking to Bail Organa and saying, yeah, the Republic sucked, the Empire is awesome, and I love the Emperor is my buddy, he's awesome, because he was basically being paid off by the Emperor.
He was a crony. Yeah,
he was a crony. Got that. Yeah. So a lot of politics at play.
One thing that would be cool if you guys ever want to do a little bit back reading, the Darth Vader comics that I've read, and they were a couple years back, they do delve into his very early years of being Darth Vader in the full black suit that we know. Okay. And he's much more conflicted about what the Empire is doing in those comics than he comes off as in the movies.
At some point, doesn't he try to kill the Empire? He goes after either the Empire goes after him, or he goes after the Empire. He
actively hatches plots to overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah, and
so he's much more conflicted in this. I think after reading those, his turn to like murdering admirals and stuff in like A New Hope and Empire, especially Empire, is when he learns that one of his children are still alive. He becomes, I think, hell-bent on locating his children. I don't honestly think he's trying to forward the Empire at all in some of those scenes. That's why he's just choking out admirals left and right. He's just like, I don't care about you. I want to find my kids. And that's kind of like, I'm reading too much into it because I've read those comics, but he's like way more conflicted in the beginning, according to those comics. I think are still canon. I don't know.
The newer comics are canon. The stuff from like 20 years ago, unfortunately, is a lot of it is not. But the newer stuff, the newer books and comics and stuff, that actually is
2015,
canon.
16 or something like that.
Yeah, that's canon.
Okay.
But so this Inquisitor says, whatever power you are craving, it will not change what you are. You are the least of us. You came to us from the gutter. Mm-hmm. So there is. Whatever happened, they basically think of her as just low life, just you are one of us, but you're the lowest of us. And so Reva, basically the Grand Inquisitor says, stop this, and Reva says okay, and puts out a signal to every bounty hunter with Ben's picture on it saying, get this guy, there's a bounty on this guy's head. So
yeah, okay, hey bud.
Yeah. So I'm dying to know what Obi-Wan, I mean, given what we saw as the previously stuff, like what is it that Reva blames Obi-Wan for that makes her so hell-bent on finding?
Well, remember,
maybe it's because he's the one that trained Anakin. That's
possible.
The only connection I've thought of so far. But granted, we're 2 episodes in, so I mean, we may learn something.
Think about what Obi-Wan and Anakin are. Anakin are like they are like the most famous of the Jedi. They're like, they're war heroes. They're the some of the most prominent Jedi. So, what was it the Ravens said? The Jedi failed you. The Jedi abandoned you. So she's bitter at that. She could be bitter at Obi-Wan for not protecting her in Order 66. Also, remember, there was that beacon that Obi-Wan put out to the universe saying, hey, we're in trouble. Something's going on. They're hunting all the Jedi. Whatever you do not come back to Coruscant.
Right.
Whenever. So basically, if you are at Coruscant, you're screwed.
Right. That's where those kids were.
Yeah. It could also be as simple as maybe Obi-Wan in one of his early years was the one that found Rey in the first place and brought her in to be trained.
Could be.
Like it could be like we don't know the reason, but I definitely think we'll find out.
We will find out. You're right. We definitely will find out. So, okay. So now there's a bounty on Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan talks to Leia.
Oh yeah.
And says, if anyone asks, we're farmers from this planet, and you're my daughter. And Leia says, yeah, maybe granddaughter.
Grandfather, yeah. You go, Leia.
I like that snark. I like it whenever that actress is bringing it. I'm enjoying it.
And he's like, what? Nothing. Perfect. She says, I read that Jedi can make things float. Make me float. And I mean, there's that one scene in what is it? The Last Jedi, where she's floating in space.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not get that either.
Try that, yeah.
So the bounty hunters are chasing Ben, and Leia's running from Obi-Wan, and she falls, and she's falling off the building, and Ben uses the Force to make her float. And Leia falls, and Ben catches her. Reva does a bunch of parkour to jump from building to building. I was surprised. Parkour. Okay, so Reva sees his name's Haja, the Kumail Nanjiani character, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll find him, I'll get him. But actually he helps Obi-Wan, which is really cool.
He stalls for him.
He redeems, which is really cool. The Grand Inquisitor talks to the kidnapper, who is Flea, who is high as a kite, but he does the spinning lightsaber thing, which is he got the twirling lightsaber thing going.
I always thought those auto rotated on a disc or something, and you just held the handle and they just like rotated around.
Yes,
that's how I always thought that worked.
And it's actually turns out in the future to be a weakness. But anyway, so now there's a scene with Leia and Ben, and basically Leia is bossing Ben around, even though she's a 10-year-old.
She is a little bit of a brat, but so's Princess Leia. So
yes.
Later.
And Leia says, what? And Ben says, nothing. You just reminded me of someone. She was fearless too and stubborn. Now I'm gonna cry.
Was this the scene?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
really?
And Leia says, was your friend a Jedi too? It's like, no, she was a leader.
Such a Padme moment.
Oh my God.
Padme. Yeah.
But it's very interesting that he said, no, she was a leader. Was she a Jedi? No, she was a leader. The whole thing about the Jedi Order was they were leaders in the prequels. They had to lead a war. They had to fight in a war and stuff like that. And look how that turned out. So basically, Obi-Wan saying Jedi should not be leaders. They should not have been in that. They should never have been in that role in the first place, where they were, leading wars and crap like that. They should
never have been generals. They were not. Exactly. That was not their role. They honestly should never have gotten involved in the politics of the day. Like they were just, they were a little overinflated at the time of the prequels.
There's a debate of whether Obi-Wan was talking about Satine, who is like the love of his life. Yeah, I agree. I think it's very obvious it was Padme.
They show Padme in the previously stuff. This is Padme's moment.
This is very much Padme
in ways that she never did in the films, in ways that she hasn't since then. Like, I love that they're taking the time to recall how important Padme was without being a Jedi. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Amazing.
I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying.
I know. I get it. I loved Padme so much as a character. When we had the hyperspace blogs, which Joey, I know I told you about. I don't know if I told you about that, Andrew. I mean, like, we had hyperspace was the fan site, and it was at its height right after Revenge of the Sith was released. And I wrote a blog regularly on there. And like my favorite character to write about was Padme and Anakin, and how Obi-Wan could, like, this story, what they're talking about and alluding to now is what I was so into. So when he said that and you could tell he's talking about Padme, I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my
Such
God.
a good scene.
Yeah.
Such a good scene. And
It's
that's
like-
it clearly did not hit me the same way it hit you. I did enjoy that scene.
Well, it made me think of Return of the Jedi. And just a little aside, the scene on the bridge on Yavin when Luke turns himself in to Darth Vader, and he's with Darth Vader, and he's like, you won't turn me into your master, and Father, you should join me. And I wrote a blog one time, and maybe I'll send it to you guys, an entry about Padme on the bridge, because that whole time they're skirting around the subject of his mother and how important, Padme, the mother, was to that. It's like this redeemed, that little line, that one little scene put some redemption into the fact that we don't know about Padme until way after that came out.
right.
I mean, of course she exists. So anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to go on and on, but I can't.
No, please.
So at some point I missed it, but the Command Johnny character helps Obi-Wan and says, take this thing, you could get on a ship and you can get the heck out of here because it's all locked down now. And they're trying to go there, but Reva's there too, and Obi-Wan and Leia are hiding. And Reva does this thing. She's like, Obi-Wan, come out to play.
I was waiting for the bottles to start clinking. Like
Yeah.
that was all I was waiting for.
Warriors. Yeah.
No, you know what she needed? 3 little lightsabers on her fingers. It just went.
Obi-Wan.
And this is another. Oh, this scene is so well done. She says, Lord Vader will be pleased. And as she must sense that Obi-Wan is there, and that Obi-Wan, she must sense his feelings. She's like, oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
You didn't know? He's alive, Obi-Wan. Anakin Skywalker is alive.
And she doesn't just say Darth Vader. She says Anakin Skywalker is alive.
How does she know?
Yes.
Because I think the Inquisitors, once Vader's up and running, doesn't Vader run the Inquisitors?
Yes.
So maybe they just know who their new boss is going to be.
Yeah, but I don't think it was supposed to be known that Vader is Anakin Skywalker.
That's one of the biggest mysteries from the Tide, from the original trilogy to the old trilogy. That, do they know? And when did they find out if they do know? That's huge. It's huge.
Well, she does a lot of things in this that they're supposedly not supposed to do. So I think she's just playing it fast and loose.
No,
and she's just
I
like,
think
I'm
she
doing
knew.
anything I can to catch Obi-Wan for whatever her reason, her personal reasons are.
There is a scene in Star Wars Rebels where Grand Admiral Thrawn figured out that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader because Darth Vader was flying a TIE fighter, and he was doing it like he did this maneuver that only Anakin Skywalker did. And then he put 2 and 2 together. But still, but how does Reva know? That's the thing. How does
Don't you think it's going to turn out that she's like working for Darth Vader or something? Like is he the one that took her
I don't know.
from Coruscant?
Maybe he's specifically like, because he knows Obi-Wan was there when Padme was there. Maybe he's like, you need to find Obi-Wan at all costs. Maybe that's her vendetta. Maybe it's not personal. Maybe it's like, this is a personal mission from Vader. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. We're gonna find out, but
I'm excited. You guys are giving me lots to chew on now.
So the Grand Inquisitor basically wants to capture Obi-Wan just so he could get the credits. Not cool, dude. She did all the work.
Yeah.
And she stabs him. And the speculation is he dead? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because he shows up in the future.
Yeah, because Rebels takes place after this, and the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, Rebels takes place like 5 years after this. So he shows up in that. So he lives, but I mean, we've seen it many times before. People get people get shot, people get
Cut in half.
cut in half. Yeah, and they show up.
I've
So
always
by a
found
Sarlacc,
yeah.
I've always found stabbing with a lightsaber to be like the most inefficient way of killing somebody, because you're stabbing them, but at the same time you're also cauterizing that entire wound. Like, I feel like that's a really inefficient way to kill them. You got to kill them by like lopping off body parts with a lightsaber. I feel like
you gotta really move.
Are we gonna
show you
see
how it's like, you
Qui-Gon?
gotta really
yes, I think we're gonna see Qui-Gon.
Yeah, that's how you do it. But yeah, she stabs him. And at this point,
he falls off into blackness or something.
Oh, which one is? Oh, that's a good one. I got this is $5 from Target, but man, you got a good one.
That's one of those cool ones that actually lights up and makes the wavy noises.
It is one of the ones that make the wavy noises. But I can't. Why now? I can't get Coruscant to go away.
Oh, Coruscant. You should have made it Alderaan. It would have gone away eventually. Maybe too dark.
Very.
I know what you're talking about.
That is a cool looking lightsaber. So they escape. I heard it.
Nice.
Sorry.
So they were able to escape because Reva is busy stabbing the Inquisitor. And
knifing her boss.
Yeah, the knife in her boss. But Obi-Wan is freaking out, and Leia's like, what is wrong with you? He is freaking out. He just says, Anakin. And then the next thing we see is not Darth Vader. I mean, it is Darth Vader, but it's Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader, in the
taking it back to back, like we watched Boba do.
It's like the most amazing thing ever.
Not some dude with James Earl Jones' voice. No,
it is Hayden Christensen.
I did not think we'd get him this early, to be honest with you.
The most amazing moments of Empire are the ones where you see those little snippets of him, like from behind when he's in his little pit, and then I can't. I don't have words. I don't have words.
It's so good. So good. Oh,
I have a feeling that this scene is the reason we got Boba Fett taking a bath for like half of the Boba Fett series in a bacta tank. So they can explain what this was.
Okay, now here's the thing. So we cut to a scene of Anakin Skywalker, and he's just chilling in the bacta tank, and then he opens his eyes like, do you think that Obi-Wan like basically sent a message to Anakin like, dude?
Oh, maybe that's why he said it. Oh, I didn't think
I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he did it on purpose or he's just so freaked out like, oh my God, this guy's alive. That, I mean, the whole thing is Obi-Wan is trying to hide his identity. and he went through so much trouble to hide that he's a Jedi, and then now he just sent a message to the universe to the dude.
But that's how strong the Force is. This is Anakin Skywalker, who's supposed to have been the strongest, the most midichlorians, the whole bit. Of course, like if he's there and in touch with the idea of Anakin being alive, like that makes total sense that Anakin's going, whoa, I just felt Obi-Wan. Like it totally makes sense.
Yeah. Whether he meant to or not, or because he was such a crazy state, it's like Anakin is like, oh, it's like when you butt dial someone. It's like when you butt dial, like, oh, I didn't mean to call you, but I just did. So now I called you. Oh my God.
Amazing. I know. I just can't even. Like I'm fumbling for words. That's how much this like meant to me.
So glad you guys are enjoying this series.
Usually
I'm enjoying this, but clearly not on the same level.
Usually in almost every series that we've seen, I mean, basically even in MCU. Well, okay, MCU is a little bit different with WandaVision, but still, almost every single series is the first couple episodes are slow and it builds and stuff. Not this one. Boom! We are
From
hitting the ground running, baby.
Second, I know. You see, like I said, those flashbacks, the previously stuff being movie clips. Are you freaking kidding me? That's what I've wanted since Revenge of the Sith came out. I wanted this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, here, and I may have told you guys this before, but like when I saw Star Wars for the first time, A New Hope, I was 14. So, not cool whatsoever for some teenage girl to like Star Wars. I went into that theater, and the one I keyed in on from the very first time I saw that movie was Darth Vader. I was like, oh, he's still alive. He's tripping away in his little spaceship. I mean, like, I fell in love with Darth Vader.
Well, that's right. He does fly away at the end of New Hope.
He does.
I forgot about that.
He's in that battle, and he's chasing after Luke, and then somebody hits him, and his TIE fighter takes off. Yeah. So that's where my mind went. Everybody else was chasing after, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, and let's all slobber over Han Solo. Not me, baby. I was all about Darth Vader from the beginning.
Nice.
I was all about the spaceships. I was all about the spaceships and the space fights and stuff like that. Yes, Darth Vader was just because, dude, he's just such a cool looking dude with the helmet.
I wanted lightsaber fights. That was all I wanted. I wanted lightsaber fights. And that is the one thing I will give the prequels every single time over the original trilogy. The lightsaber fights are significantly better.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the lightsaber fights in the original trilogy. Just, I mean, well, especially in New Hope, it was basically old man Obi-Wan
standing across from each other, going choom choom. I'm gonna vanish now. Choom.
That's one thing they'll have to address, and I mean, that's the joke right now. It's like, how do we go from Ewan McGregor to Sir Alec Guinness?
Yeah.
But you know what? I hate that argument. When people start being, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't go with it. It's he aged so much.
Shut up, people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
just watch it and just appreciate it and just enjoy that we have this.
Have you seen what stress does to a man? Like that man he could look like Sir Alec Guinness if these next couple of years don't go so well. Like
the other thing that I want to address is what in A New Hope, when Darth Vader does see Obi-Wan, he says the line, "The last time I saw you, you were the master and I was a teacher. Now I am the master," or something like that. It's like,
yeah.
Well, when's the last time we did?
Because your apprentice and stuff
it's coming. It's coming that they're going to meet up in this series.
I don't know that they do.
They have
to. They have
to
be in each other's presence.
So this is something that's been that has always perplexed me about hiding Luke on the planet that his father came from. And his father, like you said, Pam, highest midichlorian count, supposed to be the strongest Force user of all time. And if he can sense Obi-Wan saying his name across the galaxy, how in the world did they not just land him on planet after planet to see if his kids were alive? If they thought his kids were alive, how did they not just land him on Tatooine and be like, oh yeah, he's over there with my uncle? Like, I've never understood that part.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So if Darth Vader, if he's so strong with the Force, he can sense other Force users from half a galaxy away, like we're suggesting he might have done when Obi-Wan in this episode whispers his name.
Okay.
How do you not just land him on his home planet and be like, oh, okay, there's Force users here, and here, and just use them like a radar?
That's a good question. The whole thing about, in the prequels was, we checked his midichlorians and they were through the roof. Like, and now, like, all that. Why aren't you detecting midichlorians now or something like that? Why don't you do a program where the Empire says, okay, every single person has to give a blood sample so that we could check your midichlorians or something like that.
Or even just do it that, like, when every new child is born, you run their blood.
Right.
For midichlorians.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Gotta control the hospital.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the hospital system in Tatooine is a little lacking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it is supposed to be Outer Rim. And
Sure.
I mean, like, not to go off on a whole nother tangent, but don't you feel like there's got to be some shielding capability of somebody somewhere? Like,
not to go full nerd, but like a similar thing is possible in like the whole Dragon Ball Z franchise. But like certain characters can hide their power levels.
Well,
I feel like Jedi can kind of do that too, where they can like mask their presence.
The entire thing of the Emperor was he hid his entire thing. He was
Oh,
right
that's
there
true.
among he's right there among the Jedi.
And then
They had
nobody knew he
idea.
was Sidious.
And Yoda's the greatest one of them all, and he got totally fooled.
Right
So-
under their noses all that
You're
time.
correct. You're correct. All right, I withdraw my theory.
Anakin can't be looking for something that he didn't know exists. He didn't know he had kids.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
He thinks Padme died and the baby died with him. He has no idea. That's true.
The baby, he didn't even know. He didn't even know
Exactly.
it was babies.
Like
Exactly.
maybe there has to be an amount of intentionality there. Like you have to be looking for something. I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
I just remember this is a tangent. In Star Wars Rebels, basically you had Kanan Jarrus, who was he was like one of the Padawans that got away, and he wasn't really a Jedi master, but he did know some Jedi things. And then he trains this kid Ezra who had force abilities, and he basically taught him. My point of all this is there's one point where Darth Vader shows up, and the way that they portray that as there's these dudes that are just like they're not really force experts. They're just because the Jedi are gone. This is right before
what we got left.
right around this time. But when they meet Darth Vader, the way that show portrayed how somebody who didn't know about Darth Vader would meet this guy is like, oh my God, they made Darth Vader look like what he is, the biggest, scariest dude in the galaxy. And I don't remember I don't think they fought him, but they got the heck away.
No, I'm
from
pretty
him.
sure
Like,
Ahsoka shows up to fight him.
well, Ahsoka fights him. So Ahsoka knows all about him.
Is it Ahsoka or Ashoka? I always thought there was a sh in there.
It's Ahsoka.
It's Ahsoka.
There's no sh.
Ahsoka.
Okay.
A-H-S-O-K.
I don't know why I
So
thought there was
she's
a sh
showing
in
up.
there.
She's showing up at some point, doesn't she? Do you think she'll show
Oh
up?
yeah,
in
I fell off with the show, but I've seen all the big fight scenes, and I'm pretty sure she shows up because I think she somehow knows that Vader is Anakin. I think when she fights him, she figures it out.
She know. Oh yeah, at some point she figures. I forget. Yeah, but yeah, we'll get to that.
And now we're getting to spots where there's all these overlapping timelines with all these different shows. So for me,
I can send you guys the timeline thingy I found that helped explain all this to me because I was so confused.
It's going to be. There's a lot of overlapping, and yeah, there's.
I mean, because this could overlap with my ultimate Star Wars movie anymore, Rogue One too. Like, are we going to see any of that? Like Rogue One takes place right before. This is 10 years after. This is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, correct?
Yes.
So then we only have 9 more years to go,
right?
Time-wise.
Yes.
Time-wise,
Correct.
we only have 9 more years to go. So Cassian's alive, and there's a Cassian show coming. Maybe Cassian's going to show up somewhere.
The Cassian. Who's Cassian?
Very
Cassian
possible from Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's
I know
very possible.
Andor or something is getting his own suit.
Cassian, yeah.
Who's the dude? Who's
Forrest Whitaker plays him.
Yes, that dude.
Yes.
He's I'll bet he's gonna be there.
These people some of these people from these other shows have to be there and have to come into this. But Cassian, since there's a Cassian show coming, I feel like he says that line in Rogue One, I've been fighting this war for 6 years. What have you been doing, Jin? Okay, so 6 years. So then we've only got a gap of 3 years. So what happened to make him to the point he is?
He shows up his character shows up, I believe, in Clone Wars. So he's actually been doing this, way before the 6 years. So yeah, he very well could show up. He could show, yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people that could show up. Sorry.
This is such an expansive universe. It's very difficult to keep track of.
Okay, and that's what makes me laugh. George Lucas made this movie, and it was an amazing movie. It was a technological marvel for the time in 1977. And from that one movie, we got this entire universe of all these stories. I just knocked over something, but it's amazing that we got and just really good storytelling all the way around, and all these connections that we can make from that one movie.
45 years ago this happened, and it is still just as vital times 1,000 as it was then. I
could watch A New Hope right now and love every minute of
Monday
it, and
Deadline.
we're still referencing stuff from that movie 45 years ago in this show. Now it's amazing.
And you'd find things that are different, that you feel differently about, that you're making a new connection to. Like, how brilliant is that? It's brilliant.
I saw the cups that they were using in that scene when the Inquisitors go to that bar. They were drinking milk. It was the same cups that Owen and Beru were using in A New Hope. That's how much detail we're talking about
I have to
here.
go back and look. See, I want to look for cups. There you go.
Drinking milk. They're drinking that nasty.
Wait, isn't
milk.
it blue? Isn't it blue milk?
I believe it might be blue milk. Yes. All right, guys, we gotta go.
No,
This is so much fun. I am so excited.
We got
for this.
4 more episodes.
We got
of this
4
to talk
more
about.
episodes.
There's
Oh
more
my
than that,
goodness.
aren't there? I thought
thought
there
there's
was
only
I
6.
believe there's only 6 total. I know.
There could be. I don't know. I'm not the expert on this. What I am excited about is The Boys comes out this week. Woo!
Boys,
So excited for that series.
Pam, have you seen The Boys? It's all right.
It's a
That's
really
awesome.
dark take on superheroes.
all right.
Oh, well, I don't want dark. I want my superheroes to be light.
Yeah, it's
This is not the show
it's a
for
bit
you.
dark. It's a bit dark. Okay. Well, guys, I gotta go.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay.
We'll see
See
ya.
you guys.